Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. So since we had a lot of support for the Tearlament deck profile, I thought to do one or two test hands just to show you the sort of power level of this deck, because the deck is, at the end of the day, I want to say it's the best deck in the format. Splight is also good, maybe a bit more consistent, but this one has such a high ceiling where the consistency is null and void in comparison. Let's give it a quick shuffle up. There's been one or two slight changes in the list, but nothing that major, more just testing out tech choices. So we'll start off. So our hand isn't too bad. Going second, we're very strong since we have a Havness plus a Dark Ruler, but we're going first this time. Let's make sure we get a dice out for the dangers. So starting off here, I'd probably just set the Foolish and roll for the Jackalope. So we've got 1 to 4. So Dark Ruler being number 1. That's a 6, so that's a reroll. 1. So we hit the Dark Ruler. Go Jackalope, get the draw. Super Poly isn't great. So here I'd say we'd probably go Foolish. And with my first fusion, I would always prefer it to be Havness, because it's one of the ones which I want to keep in deck and then search out at a later date. And we'll go Havness effect. We'll put these two to the bottom of the deck. I'm a bit of trouble there. And then we'll summon out the main boss, the main card of this deck, Kit Kalos, and we've got Kit Kalos effect. So there's two different routes of play we can go here. We already have Sileek, so that's off the table. But we have either Rhino Heart or Merly. And we both give different sort of benefits to this. Rhino Heart is a guaranteed tier name, whereas Merly is level 2, which means we can do the elf play a lot easier. Because of the lack of resources in my hand, I probably would go with Rhino Heart, just to make sure we have that trigger off a Kit Kalos effect. So shuffle up. So we go Kit Kalos, target itself, send it to grave, special Rhino Heart, we'll special it here. And we go Chelik 1 Rhino, Chelik 2 Kit Kalos, so we can send any name which we don't hit. So we hit a Gizmek, a Terraforming, a Desires, a Greffer, and a Coolbuy, so no names there. And then we'll send probably a Merly. So in this situation, I'd probably go Merly plus Kit Kalos. Let's put that to the bottom. Kit Kalos in here. And I would summon out Garura. So we do have Gizmek and Grave, which means we can have 3 darks for Curious, which I think is probably the best play to do here. Because if not, then we link these two off into, say, a IP and pass, and that isn't great. So yeah, we'll go Gizmek effect. We'll banish top 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Special this out. And then we'll link these 3 off for Curious. We'll go Chelik 1 Curious, Chelik 2 Garura, so we can get the draw. Draw another Super Poly. Now let's check what we banished. So we banished 2 Havness, Sheeran, and a Spell Canceller. Oh, banished a second Sileek as well, so nothing too important. Banishing the Spell Canceller is kind of hurt, but that's fine. So off of this, we could either send Sheeran for another fusion, but I don't think that we need another fusion at this moment in time. As well as things like Snow may just be a better shout. We haven't normal summoned yet, so if we can go Zephyros, but that still isn't great. We can go Beast for another draw, but it's a really rough one, this. Honestly, I probably would just go with Snow. Is there any other options? Because if we send Sheeran with fusing to Mud Dragon, doesn't really get me anywhere. We've got double Super Poly in hand anyway, so we want to keep the targets in debt or in the extra deck. if we go snow here, we could link these two off into that, That still doesn't really do much. In all honesty, it might be an idea to go Sheeran to make another Kit Kalos, so we got the Sleek live, but that doesn't feel like great. Yeah, we'll just do that. So we'll go Sheeran, and then we'll go Sheeran effect. Use these two because I believe we don't have any other tier names. Nope. So we can put them to the bottom. Summon the Kit Kalos out again. And then we got the end board of Kit Kalos, Curious, Super Poly and Sleek. So during our opponent's turn, when they start playing, we can go Sleek, send this to then negate a card. This will then mill 5. So no Cyclone, Rhinoheart, Epic, and Eradicator, not Epic, and Merly. So then here we'll go Chenic 1 Curious, Chenic 2 Merly. Merly can put back probably Garula and itself to then summon out Drexpelia. So we do it that way because Garula is a really good Super Poly target and we still got the card in hand for that. And then Curious will then mill 3, Rota, Sheeran and Snow. So yeah, so here we'll go Sheeran effect. The only negative of doing it this way is if we knew we was going to hit another name, if we put back the Kit Kalos, we can make a second one here. That's where the second one does come up sometimes. But I probably would just go that and put back the Kit Kalos. So then we can summon out the Kaleido Heart. And then we still have, well, we milled the Snow, we've got the Cyclone and Grave, we've got Gizmek still. So we still have a decent amount of interruptions. So we've got the Negate, we have Super Poly. If they remove the Curious in any way, we get to add any card from our grave back to hand. So things like Desires if we need to draw 2, or Foolish is very nice to have. But we Negate off of Drexpelia, and we've got the Shuffle back off of Kaleido Heart. And then if we get back to our next turn, during whenever we want, we can go Sleek, send the Kaleido Heart to negate another monster, then Kaleido Heart can then summon itself back by sending a name, and then it'll then shuffle something back, send a Tearlament, and it'll trigger Curious all at the same time. So things like that are very strong. The end board for this deck is normally very, it seems very small, but it's a sort of trick on their mind where it doesn't look that much, but it does a lot. So we'll do 1 or 2 more. We'll see if we can get a really strong hand and show the sort of power we can end on. So we'll go shuffle up. There we go. So 5 cards. Going first or going second, his hand's pretty nice, since we do have Havness and Dark Ruler, as well as 2 names and a Danger. So off of this straight away, I'm probably just going to go Nessie effect. So Zephyros 1 to Dark Ruler 5. Get a 3, so we hit the Havness. Get a draw. Get a Spell Canceller. So we probably would go Havness here. And you know, I probably will just go with these 2. The reason is I want to search Sleek off of Kit Kalos. So having a Merly in hand still is very strong, so we can trigger the second effect to it, of the Kit Kalos that is. And we want to try and prevent using a normal summon, because since we drew the Spell Canceller, it is a very strong tribute summon just to deal with all the board breaker cards this format. We'll go Kit effect, send itself, special Merly, and then we'll mill 8 in total. So remember, do 1, 2, so then no matter what you can at least mill 5. So we mill the Havness again, that won't trigger. Hit a Merly, that's nice. Okay, we also hit Eradicator, which is also quite nice. So we'll go Merly effects. We want to put back the Haviness, I want to say, and because we have to use our normal summon in this situation, the cancel is a little bit worse, but it's still quite strong because we can bring it back with things like the Dagaris. So we go these two into Garura, and then let's think. So do we have Zephyros in hand? The only issue is both of these are winged beasts, so we have to think of a different way to do this here. It may have been an idea to go into Mud Dragon instead to guarantee the Curious, but I feel that there's a way to do this where you don't need to do that. So we'll just go these two off for a Splight Elf, get the draw for Garura, Mothman. So this may change what we do. So we'll go 1, 2, 4. The 1, so we hit the Zephyros, this is really strong in this situation. Get another draw, Sheeran, absolutely amazing. So what we can do here is go Sheeran effect, send a Canceller, special summon a Milfrey. So hit a Salik, a Sheeran, and a Rhino Heart. We'll go Salik and Sheeran. So we'll just search with Salik first. We'll grab a Haviness to use as a hand trap, and then Sheeran can summon. May just go with Mud Dragon here. Anything better to use? Nah, probably not. So we can go into the Mud Dragon. So now we can go Zephyros, bounce Mothman to keep it to basically use as an extra extender, and then here we'll change this to dark, and now we can have access to Curious, and now it's also untargetable because of Elf, which is really nice. So we'll use Curious, and we'll probably send we already have spell cancel in Grave, so probably send a Snow. We get to mill 3 more. So I believe the only fusion effect we haven't used yet is Merly, unless I've went through all 3. Mud Dragon, Guru. Yeah, I think we went through all 3 actually. So then we'll mill 3. Sheeran again, that's fine. So here I'm gonna go Mothman effect, because if we don't hit the Mothman, we can guarantee a spell cancel as well. So 1, 6, 1. So we'll summon out with Mothman, we'll get the draw, another Mothman, that's kind of nice. And then we can just go banish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's what you expect, 6, 7. To summon out the Snow. We can then go Dagaris, put it over here just so it doesn't get targeted. Or if we summon it over here, and we already played, if it had Vela or Impa, we probably would have used it by now. We'll do that and summon spell canceller here so it can't be targeted. And then we can go maybe these 2 off for a Griffin. So Griffin effect, hitch Mothman to then set Virus. You can then use Mothman here if you wanted to. It's not necessary, but let's see if it gets us anywhere nearer. And that's very nice. I believe we still have a Haviness in deck, so we'll probably just do it like this. No, we won't, because we have spell cancel on the field. I'm just being an idiot there. Yeah, we'll keep the Haviness in hand. Anything else we can do? Probably not. So this being the end field, it's very strong. We shut down all spells, so we literally have Imperial Order on the field. We have Salik and Virus. So say we pass to opponent's turn, we can go Haviness to mill 3 and trying to get into a big fusion. or we also have Merle engrave to then bring back off of Elf, and then we can mill 3 that way, which then brings our Sleek online. This plays through the Super Poly, any sort of extenders they have, like E-Telly or any field spells or Mystic Mind for that matter. So let's say they just normal summon a guy with no effect or anything like that. We'll go Elf, special summon Merle to a zone that they don't want the points to. So then mill 3 cards. We hit a Beast, a Havness, and a Super Poly. So we go channeling 1 Havness, channeling 2 Beast. So we'll draw the card, drew a Merle, and then we can go Havness. Probably here. I'll go into window. We'll put it over here because it doesn't need to activate. So then if they summon a monster, we can go Sleek, send, Merle effect to use on 1 special summon after window's been summoned. So we can go probably Guru and Merle, and summon Draco's Superior. And then say it's more of a back row deck, or they've dealt with spell counts in some way, we can then preemptively, or do it whenever, we can flip the Virus, send a Draco to then declare either spells or traps. Because we have cancel on the field, we don't need to worry about spells too much, so we can clear the hand of all the traps. And then they're also skill drained from special monsters as long as they're not linked. So it's quite hard to beat this. Bear in mind you also have a Havness available if we didn't go into window, as well as a Snow Engrave. There's many options with things like this, and sometimes it's just get 1 extra card and you can go from just having Elf Sleek into having everything here. So that was a very good way just to show you guys the power of just having 1 extra card, or that is just the power of the deck. It just does things like this quite consistently. You do need to freestyle a lot, which I've seen. There's like 1 or 2 like normal combos of when you go like normal summon Rhino Heart, or if you start with an instant fusion. But since this deck is down to mills mostly, it is mainly freestyle. So it can be a lot harder to learn, but if you've been around on the channel long enough, you know that I'm quite experienced with freestyle decks, like the Block Dragon BA deck from back when that card was legal. Okay, so we're just going to do 1 more hand. So this hand's very strong. Going first, we have a planet, we have a danger, we have a name. Going second, we have Super Poly and Havness. Quite insane. So to start off, I'll probably go planet. Grab. Since we have no guarantee hits, I probably would grab Rhino Heart here. Because we have a name in hand, we have a danger in hand. And say if Nessie hits the Rhino Heart, we can send the Havness of a Sleek to trigger it to then bring it back, which just ends up with more pluses. So we'll go 1 to 5. On the Nessie, hit the 5, so we hit the Rhino Heart. We'll special the Nessie, we'll draw a card, drew a beast, that's quite nice. Then we can go Rhino Heart effect. I probably would pitch Havness here to special summon it. Then we can go Chainlink 1 Havness, Chainlink 2 Rhino Heart. So we can probably send Sheeran. And then, in honesty, I'm probably just going to fuse with Havness and Sheeran. Because we have a legal target to use anyway, it doesn't matter. Especially for the fusion monster which we are summoning. If I am wrong, please just let me know. But I believe that's how this works here. We go get Kalos effect to then grab the Merle. Then we can go kit target itself, and that will special Merle. And we'll mill 8. So we hit Rhino Heart, Nessie, Rhino Heart, Foolish, Merle, Sheeran, Jackalope, and Snow. So we only used Havness so far, so we got the Merle and Sheeran trigger. Just try to think what's the best way to do this. So we can go Merle and Nessie into Garura. And we can go Sheeran and Jackalope into Mudragon. Actually, instead of Nessie, we'll send back the Kalos, because since we have the 2 fusions here, making Draco's Speller is quite easy if we need to. And it's always nice to keep it in rotation, especially since I'm only playing 1. So here, I probably would go... kind of want to make Dweller with these 2, but then I don't have the resources for Curious. Completely slipped my mind for a second. So here I'm probably gonna go these 2 for the Elf. Elf can bring back the Merle. Then we'll change this to Dark. We can make the Curious. We get a draw for Guru. Dark Cruiler, that's not too bad. And then we can send any card. Because we have the Snow, we have a level 4 on field, we could always send Spell Canceller here. The only issue with that is it does turn off our Super Poly. But against things like Dark Cruiler, it's pretty strong. Another way to do it is send Virus. It really depends on what matchup you're going up against. But say if I'm going into this blind, the strongest play probably will be the Spell Canceller. Because if you don't know what you're going up against, just turn off all spells. 90% of the time is probably the strongest thing you can do. That's why Order is banned and Royal Decree isn't. So then we will mill 3. Sheeran, Planet, and a Snake. So then from here, we can go Snow Effect. We go 1, 2, 3, 4. Get that one out. 5. We get rid of a Sheeran as a 6, and I don't want to banish Rhinoheart, because if they get rid of this one, then Rhinoheart isn't an option anymore. I do want a good target off of Curious. I think we're going to mill enough during opponent's turn where we should hit a good target. So we'll just banish a few of the share. We'll then summon out the Dagaris. And go Dagaris. Bring back the Spell Canceller. And then probably just set 2 paths. So the reason we set the Super Poly here is if they do deal with a Spell Canceller, it is quite a small body at 18. Then that turns on our Planet and a Super Poly, which then can give us a nice board breaking option. Especially since they see that we've summoned a Spell Canceller, they probably won't read that the set card would be a Super Poly or anything in that sort of realms. So during opponent's turn, we have Elf to bring back the Merle. Merle will mill 3, so we mill a Zephyros, a Sheeran, and a Terraforming. Then we'll go Chenic 1, Curious, Chenic 2, Sheeran. Sheeran can go probably this and the Brewer. Put that back, put the Sheeran back. Summon a Draco's Depelia. Then Curious will mill for 3. Hit a Merle and a Havness. So here we can only use one of them. Probably would go with if we go Havness, Rhinoheart, and the Merle on field, then we can make the Collider Heart. We can shuffle something back, and that means our Salik is really strong here because we can cycle the Collider Heart out to negate a card, bring it back, and send the Merle, because I believe that's the only one we haven't used this turn, to then make another fusion if need be. We've got the Draco's Pairs in the gate. This cuts off all spells. This stops targeting on these two. If Curious dies, add back, say, a Danger or the best normal summon in the deck. And then, if they do deal with a spell canceller, we got the Super Poly set, we have a Planet. So if they deal with a canceller before we go a Salik effect, then we get a Shuffle Back and a Pop for free, as well as a Super Poly. We can just pitch a Dark Cooler. Or a neat thing we could do, instead of going with Draco's Tearlaments, we can just summon out a window instead. So there's many options with this deck, very freestyle, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is just how I play the deck a little bit. People probably play it slightly differently, but this has got me a really strong record of 35, 0 losses and 35 wins, 0 losses and 1 draw. And the draw was when I was on a very bad build of this deck with a bunch of Light Swarm stuff, and it was just there for a bit of fun. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think. If you got any recommendations for the deck, I'm more than happy to hear you guys out. And I shall see you guys next time. Peace out.